You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here is a look at some of our news headlines. Today, bird strikes forced an American Airlines flight from Philadelphia to SFO to turn around today. The FAA says it happened shortly after takeoff. Flight 2035 landed safely back in Philadelphia at around 4:30 a.m. our time. No injuries reported. 4 people shot in San Francisco, and now police are investigating if a separate shooting might be connected. The gunfire erupted just before 6 last night at 3rd and Burke Avenue in the Bayview. Officers found 1 person at the scene. They were taken to San Francisco General, and 3 other people who were shot were also taken to the hospital before officers arrived. And a short time later, another shooting, this time near San Francisco General Hospital. Nobody was hurt in that shooting, and police have not said yet if the shootings are linked, but they did arrest the suspect in that shooting near the hospital. Flames tore through this parked RV in Oakland early this morning. Our chopper spotted this fire around Mandela Parkway and 24th Street just before 6:30. No word on if anybody was hurt in that fire. New developments in Napa County where 6 people were killed in a suspected drunk driving crash over the weekend. The sheriff says all 6 men who died are believed to be farm workers from the Stockton area. 2 have just been identified as 42-year-old Loreto Ricardo Hernandez and 34-year-old Fernando Silverio. The driver and 1 passenger survived the crash. A driver, Noberto Serlino, is charged with 6 counts of murder and driving under the influence. He has 3 prior DUI convictions in San Joaquin County. A Hindu temple in Dublin burglarized, about $34,000 in cash and jewelry stolen. Happened early Sunday morning at this temple on Village Parkway. This is between Amador Valley Boulevard and Dublin Boulevard. Investigators do not believe the burglary was motivated by religious prejudice. No word on any arrests. All right, it's kind of another weird weather day, muggy around the Bay Area. As we take a look outside in San Francisco, more scattered rain and another chance of thunderstorms today. Meteorologist Jessica Birch has a look at our forecast.
Well, it's been a pretty cool and humid week for us, widespread throughout the Bay Area, with a lingering chance of showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon hours today up in the North Bay. We're not out of the clear just yet, but we're starting to see a trend change as we head into the next couple of days with a warm up right around the corner. For now, we're still sitting in the low 70s, anywhere from Santa Rosa down into Novato, and that matches up with our friends across the Golden Gate Bridge all the way down into San Francisco. Notice how you pass the Bay Bridge over in Oakland. It's only a degree warmer there. Today is one of the coolest days we're going to see this week, but we do warm up as we head into our Thursday, Friday, and Saturday forecast. By next week, as early as Monday and Tuesday, places like San Jose sitting in the 70s today will jump right back up into the mid-90s around the corner. So about a 20-degree difference right around the corner. But for now, I want to show you what we're dealing with today. This area of low pressure, it's been impacted all the Bay Area's forecast, and all of Northern California, actually, with showers, higher relative humidity, a change of the direction of the winds, too, but that's going to start exiting as we head into our Thursday and Friday forecast. So it's wringing out the last of its moisture today, especially up in the North Bay, places closer to Clear Lake. Potentially Napa and Sonoma could see some lingering showers. That starts to clear up as we head into Thursday and Friday with sunnier skies around the corner. Surface level winds have been relatively light, by the way. I mean, earlier this morning, it wasn't anything to write home about. Heading into this afternoon, max winds will top off around 15 to 20 miles per hour along the coast. But that's really not the big weather story for us. The big story has to do with a warm up right around the corner. Today, we're sitting in the 70s in our inland spots. Don't forget it. But once we head into our Thursday, Friday, and Saturday forecast, we're back into the 80s. And then suddenly we're talking about 90s as high pressure builds in heading in next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So a big warm up is on the horizon as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center.
A recent study named San Jose the safest large city in America, due in part to its relatively low levels of violent crime. But not everyone shares that perspective. You might have seen this video. We covered this robbery over the weekend. Gang of thieves crashing into that San Jose jewelry store and assaulting the 88-year-old owner. The Little Saigon Merchant Association gathered yesterday demanding intervention and support for small businesses in San Jose. They say crime has gotten out of control.
I am not surprised that our customer is also fear for their life. They got car break-in, they got grab their purse in the broad daylight. One of the very utmost reason that they targeted our community because we keep silent. we don't report incident to the law enforcement.
Now, as John Ramos reports, they are calling on state and local leaders to invest in public safety in a way that actually makes them feel safe.
Crime is a tangible thing that can be counted or measured, but safety is something different. It's a feeling that can't be expressed as a data point. It's become a thing for politicians to talk about how much crime has dropped, but it doesn't seem like it to the people in San Jose's Little Saigon district.
We see people just saying crime is down, but I think on the ground, crime is not down.
Tuan No founded a group called Asians Unite during the pandemic when there were reports of Asians, many of them elderly, being randomly attacked.
It's in the Asian community, I think Asians are in many ways easy targets. We're smaller framed. We tend not to speak out or fight back, and we're easy to be victimized. As immigrants, we don't tend to speak up.
But they're speaking up now, thanks to this video released on Monday of a brazen daylight crash and grab robbery by a mob of masked thieves. It happened at the Kim Hung jewelry store in San Jose, with the 88-year-old owner being shoved to the floor. He was later discovered to have suffered a stroke during the robbery.
They have cameras, and so when these incidents happen, it's quickly shared with other merchants in the area, and so there's a lot of fear.
So Little Saigon merchants have called a meeting with their council member Bien Don and the police chief, but their demands go beyond the city. They are calling on Governor Newsom to fund the enforcement of Prop 36, the measure passed last year to combat drug and retail theft crimes. They also want more automated license plate readers to retrieve stolen cars before they can be used as battering rams in robberies.
We've been working hard with the city for 2.5 years now to make it the safest city in the nation. But it doesn't mean we don't have crimes. The Little Saigon has gotten safer, but there's a lot of room for improvement.
The Grand Century Mall has a lot of Vietnamese jewelry stores, and while some people admit the number of crimes may be down, one worker named Kim said the video of the latest robbery is preventing them from feeling safe.
We need some people help us so we feel more safe when we do the business.
Does it feel like there's a lot of crime in this area now?
Yes.
And are people pretty frightened by it?
Yeah.
After what they've been through, the Asian community isn't relying on crime stats. They want to see more police officers, and some are even welcoming the idea of deploying the National Guard. Do you really think that's a good idea?
You know, it's a mixed bag. Currently, we've been asking, the communities are asking for public safety for years and years, and nothing has happened. Something drastic needs to happen, and at this point, people are so frustrated that they're like, okay, bring in the National Guard, bring in CHP, bring in the sheriff. We need action now, we need immediate help, and we need this to be taken with the seriousness that it deserves.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but in Little Saigon, one video was enough to drive 1,000 fears.
The study that recognized San Jose as the safest large city came from the financial tech company Smart Asset and weighed its violent crime and property crime rate among several other factors. Asian leaders believe that the city's crime numbers are low because many merchants are afraid to even report robberies for fear of scaring their customers or having their insurance rates increased. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a planned 21-story high-rise facing a lot of pushback in one local community.
My biggest concern is the height of that building, looking like an Empire State Building.
And it's not the Empire State Building.
But some say it is needed to help house a rapidly aging population, the rule that could allow it to be built despite community concerns. Plus, Governor Newsom delivering his State of the State address, his attacks on the Trump administration, and why some are calling his taped address disrespectful.
It's one of the coolest days this week here in the Bay Area, with our inland spots only warming up into the 70s with cloudy skies, high relative humidity. It almost doesn't feel summer-like, right? Well, that's going to come to an end as we head into this weekend. As high pressure builds its way in, we jump back up into the 80s as early as tomorrow, back into the 90s as early as Monday, and we have sunny skies right around the corner as we slowly creep closer to the triple digits over there. Now, at the same time, we're going to notice that warm up along the bay, just not as much. I mean, low 70s for now, only turn into low 80s by next Tuesday, but we do have sunnier skies around the corner.
A new housing project could change the skyline of Redwood City. We're talking about this 21-story tower in the peninsula suburbs. The high-rise is planned for Marshall Street downtown. It would only house seniors, which is the fastest growing age group in the Bay Area. But as Lauren Thomas shows us, some people have issues with the height of this project.
When Ernie Schmidt moved to Redwood City more than 20 years ago, it didn't take long for him to fall in love with the community.
As we would call it, a vibrant living room of San Mateo County. You know, you have great entertainment, you have great restaurants, but most importantly, you have a great community that just comes and enjoys its city.
So when plans surfaced for a 21-story tower downtown, more than double the height of any building in the area, his first thought was public safety.
For that size of a building, you know, rest assured, those firefighters are going to be stuck in that building saving lives and putting out that fire, where it's going to prevent them most likely from answering other calls. It's not really about the 21-story building. It's really more about, is the community ready for that change?
The project would be a 55 and over community with more than 200 apartments and memory care facilities. Supporters say it's a crucial step as the city's 75 and over population is expected to double by 2045.
People are living longer and people's needs change from, you know, like a suburban house to kind of a smaller, more manageable, more energy efficient place to live. But really it's about people being able to choose.
Currently, Redwood City caps buildings at 12 stories, though the tallest today is just 10. Developers are leaning on the state's density bonus law, which can allow exceptions for priority projects like senior housing. But at a city council meeting Monday night, the response was mixed.
I'm very, very concerned about the massing, the height, the dwindling of the sidewalk, the location of such a massive building.
Vice Mayor Diane Howard drew a comparison to a New York City icon.
My biggest concern is the height of that building, looking like an Empire State Building, basically, because it's a pencil going up in the air. Everything looks quite small, surrounded by the Empire State Building, but it's the middle of Manhattan, and it's not in the middle of Redwood City.
Others countered, saying access to senior living facilities should be a priority for the city.
The real risk to seniors is isolation. It's not being able to find this kind of housing at all.
And it's not the Empire State Building. That's 5 times the height of this building.
For Ernie, the question isn't just about the impact on the skyline, but whether the people who call this city home have input on change.
The input from the community is even more important. And that's where we need to really focus our attention. We need to focus our attention in ensuring that the community is involved and ensuring that the project, if it happens, is a project that everybody loves and supports all around.
A fire marshal tells Lauren that they will be exploring ways to respond to emergencies in a building that height. This is not going to be affordable housing. Each unit is expected to start in the low millions. The developer will be meeting with community members in the coming months. Still no word on when the council is expected to vote on these plans. New affordable apartments are coming to East San Jose. The city hosting a groundbreaking ceremony this afternoon for the Field Inn. The development is located on North Capitol Avenue by Beach Nut Drive across the street from Target. It's going to have 160 new apartments for lower income residents. Money to pay for the project comes from measures approved by voters, set to open in June 2027. The city of San Bruno is marking 15 years since that deadly pipeline explosion. That blast in 2010 killed 8 people and injured more than 50 others, leaving the community with extensive damage. Residents and local leaders gathered near the site of the explosion for a memorial service last night. They gave speeches and laid wreaths at the Earl Glenview Park to honor the people who died.
Because a memory cannot be burned, let me live in your hearts and your minds, thus saving me from the more devouring fire, oblivion. And that's what I'm worried about. I don't want people to forget because we lost lives and it was a horrific thing. We can't let that be forgotten.
San Bruno City Council also held a moment of silence for the lives lost during the explosion. Governor Gavin Newsom delivered his annual State of the State address, and this is the second year in a row that he's declined to deliver a public speech. Instead, he sent a letter to the legislature and then released a short pre-recorded video. Some see the address as a defiant stance against the Trump administration, but as Steve Large reports, others see it as simply disrespectful.
As I present the State of the State letter to the California legislature, admittedly, we are in darker times.
Governor Gavin Newsom's State of the State delivered with this video, accompanying a letter to the legislature calling the State of the State strong, also acknowledging its affordability crisis and his clashes with the presidential administration.
Mr. Mayor, Steve Large, CBS 13.
I asked former Assembly Speaker and longtime Newsom mentor Willie Brown about Newsom's no-show for a State of the State speech in front of legislators.
Today, the State of the State was released in a video link. When you were Speaker, would that have been okay?
Of course.
You don't think it's disrespectful to the legislature for the governor not to speak and deliver this to them in person?
I think that Newsom will do whatever Newsom wishes to do. That's the nature of who Newsom is. After all, he was my mayor.
And you gave him his first job?
I gave him, his first time in government. Right. He had a job before.
Sure.
He was a bartender.
Brown served as Assembly Speaker for 15 years before becoming San Francisco mayor and appointing Newsom to his first office as a San Francisco parking commissioner.
Does this look like the State of the State to you?
No, it does. Not only does it not look like the State of the State, he sends it out 3 days before the end of the legislative session.
Republican State Senator Tony Strickland called Newsom's State of the State letter disrespectful.
That's a slap in the face to all the legislature that have been working hard on a lot of these important bills going through the legislature right now.
Governor Newsom seemed to be carrying on the traditional speech when he took office in 2019. Only since the pandemic, he has not delivered his State of the State speech in the Capitol, even delivering his 2021 remarks from an empty Dodgers stadium. Now, Newsom's new tradition, a letter and a pre-produced video link.
Happy 175th, California.
The response from California Republicans, Assembly Minority Leader James Gallagher said the governor's messaging is just a campaign tactic.
We see this governor who refuses to really do anything when it comes to our affordability crisis, reducing any costs. Have our utility costs gone down? No. Have our gas prices gone down? No. All of these things the governor continues to ignore. Why? Because he's running for president.
Republicans also called out the governor for not holding an in-person address. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, the missed opportunities have cost him his job. Niners kicker Jake Moody kicked off the team, who they just signed as his replacement.
You know that feeling when you pull into town and you feel like you're home?
Heading into this afternoon, still cool and cloudy, widespread throughout the Bay. I mean, today from San Francisco across that beautiful Golden Gate Bridge up into the North Bay, we're really not seeing too much of a temperature change. If anything, by about 3 degrees into Novato, by about 5 degrees the more north you go up into Santa Rosa. Speaking of Santa Rosa and the North Bay, you see a little bit of that green trickled in there up in the North Bay this afternoon. Well, as we advance the clock into the afternoon and evening hours tonight, there's a chance of thunderstorm activity up there, while the rest of us are really just dealing with dry, cool, cloudy conditions. And when we talk about dry conditions, I should also add relative humidity is pretty high. It's been muggy, it's been cool for us, widespread throughout the day, with daytime highs only sitting in the 70s from the East Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. So this is below average for this time of year, yes. And it's not that normal, also, yes. The reason why we're even seeing this change in the weather pattern has to do with low pressure just to the north of us. What that's doing is it's driving in more moisture as we head into the afternoon hours. I mean, we even notice it in the early morning hours too, but that system starts to exit as we head into our Thursday and Friday forecast. So it's wringing out the last of those showers over the Bay Area as we head into the afternoon hours today. Starting to clear up into our Thursday forecast, still with cool, cloudy skies, but then we'll start to see a nice warm up with sunnier conditions heading into this weekend.
Well, the missed field goals in Seattle were the last straw for the 49ers. Jake Moody has now been kicked off the team, and as Vern Glenn shows us, they're not wasting any time with his replacement.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
As the saying goes, the NFL stands for not for long. The 49ers had to make a business decision Tuesday, waiving Jake Moody after he made just one of his 3 field goal attempts against the Seahawks. Despite the poor kicking performance, here was Kyle Shanahan after the win.
Is that kicker in any question in your mind whether he's going to be back in the team?
No question.
Well, things changed quickly in the league. This wasn't the move the Niners wanted to make after using a 3rd-round pick to get the former Michigan kicker in the 23 draft. But if the Red and Gold want to make another Super Bowl run, they need confidence in their kicking game, and they weren't getting it. In his last 4 games as a Niner, Moody made just 3 of his 9 field goal attempts and missed an extra point. And it didn't take long for the Niners to replace him. San Francisco signed veteran kicker Eddie Pinheiro to a 1-year deal to take Moody's spot. Pinheiro has played 7 seasons in the pros, most recently with Carolina, where he made 88% of his field goal attempts over his 3 years as a Panther. With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
Niner fans shared their thoughts on Moody online. One fan says on X, "I feel bad for Jake Moody. We don't know what he's going through, but I wish him the best." Another fan also said they felt bad for him for losing his job and hopes he gets another chance somewhere else. This fan wishing the best of luck to him. The user says, as a longtime fan, that's all he can ask for. By the way, you can tune in tonight for our weekly 49ers Experience show with Vern and Matt Lively. That airs at 7:30 on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. Today is the first chance to buy tickets to the FIFA World Cup next year in Santa Clara. 6 of the soccer matches will be played at Levi's Stadium. Those games start on June 13th and go through July 1st. Well, today, fans with a Visa credit or prepaid card can begin registering for the FIFA pre-sale draw. Yeah, it's a draw, so you have to get the chance to win the ability to buy the tickets. Tickets for group stage matches will start at $60, going all the way to almost $7,000 for exclusive seats for the final match. Fans are going to be selected at random to have the chance, again, to buy those tickets. The Golden State Valkyries have one more game left in the regular season before the start of the playoffs. Last night, the Valkyries fell to the Seattle Storm in the last few minutes of the game. Final score 74-73. The Storm also clinching the last playoff spot. Golden State playing for either the 6th or 8th seed. And they're going to be back on the road tomorrow afternoon, taking on the Minnesota Lynx. You can watch the game on KPIX and streaming on Paramount Plus. Our live coverage starts at 4:30. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, the wine is flowing, but fewer people are drinking. The local growers are trying anything they can to survive the downturn.
It does go through cycles, and we're in a challenging one.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Ann Makovic, and here is another look at some of our news headlines. Bird strikes forced an American Airlines flight from Philly to SFO to turn around today. The FAA says it happened shortly after takeoff. Flight 2035 did land safely back in Philadelphia at around 4:30 a.m. our time. You can see crews inspecting the Airbus A321. No injuries reported. 4 people shot in San Francisco, and now police are investigating if a separate shooting might be connected. The gunfire erupted just before 6 last night at 3rd and Burke Avenue in the Bayview. Officers found 1 person who had been shot at the scene. They were taken to the San Francisco General Hospital, and 3 other people were also taken to the hospital before officers arrived. Then, a short time later, another shooting, this time near San Francisco General Hospital. Police have not said yet if the shootings are linked, but they did arrest the suspect in that shooting near the hospital. New developments in Napa County where 6 people were killed in a suspected drunk driving crash over the weekend. The sheriff says all 6 men who died are believed to be farm workers from the Stockton area. 2 have just been identified as 42-year-old Loreto Ricardo Hernandez and 34-year-old Fernando Silverio. The driver and one passenger survived that crash. The driver, Noberto Serralino, is charged with 6 counts of murder and driving under the influence. He has 3 prior DUI convictions in San Joaquin County. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast. The middle of the week. Here is meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, it's been a pretty cool and humid week for us widespread throughout the Bay Area, with a lingering chance of showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon hours today up in the North Bay. We're not out of the clear just yet, but we're starting to see a trend change as we head into the next couple of days with a warm up right around the corner. For now, we're still sitting in the low 70s, anywhere from Santa Rosa down into Novato, and that matches up with our friends across the Golden Gate Bridge all the way down into San Francisco. Notice how you pass the Bay Bridge over in Oakland. It's only a degree warmer there. Today is one of the coolest days we're going to see this week, but we do warm up as we head into our Thursday, Friday, and Saturday forecast. By next week, as early as Monday and Tuesday, places like San Jose sitting in the 70s today will jump right back up into the mid-90s around the corner. So about a 20-degree difference right around the corner. But for now, I want to show you what we're dealing with today. This area of low pressure, it's been impacted all the Bay Area's forecast, and all of Northern California, actually, with showers, higher relative humidity, a change of the direction of the winds, too, but that's going to start exiting as we head into our Thursday and Friday forecast. So it's wringing out the last of its moisture today, especially up in the North Bay, places closer to Clear Lake. Potentially Napa and Sonoma could see some lingering showers. That starts to clear up as we head into Thursday and Friday with sunnier skies around the corner. Surface level winds have been relatively light, by the way. I mean, earlier this morning, it wasn't anything to write home about. Heading into this afternoon, max winds will top off around 15 to 20 miles per hour along the coast. But that's really not the big weather story for us. The big story has to do with the warm up right around the corner. Today we're sitting in the 70s in our inland spots, don't forget it. But once we head into our Thursday, Friday, and Saturday forecast, we're back into the 80s. And then suddenly we're talking about 90s as high pressure builds in heading in next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So a big warm up is on the horizon as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center.
Well, Poland says it shot down suspected Russian drones that entered its airspace headed for Ukraine. The incident marks the first time NATO aircraft engaged potential threats in Allied airspace. A White House official tells CBS News President Trump is going to speak with Poland's president today. Reporter Natalie Brand has details from the White House.
Polish and NATO fighter jets rushed to respond after the country's prime minister said a number of Russian drones violated Poland's airspace. No casualties have been reported, but the government is assessing the damage on the ground. The prime minister says they're likely dealing with a large-scale provocation and prompted Poland's government to invoke Article 4 of the NATO treaty to start emergency talks.
Whether it was intentionally or not, it is absolutely reckless.
NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte delivered a strong warning to Russia to stop its war on Ukraine and aggression in the region.
Allies are resolved to defend every inch of Allied territory.
The incident comes just a week after President Trump hosted Poland's president here at the White House and suggested the U.S. could increase its troop presence in the country.
We're with Poland all the way, and we will help Poland protect itself.
President Trump Wednesday morning on social media posted, "What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? Here we go." The U.S. ambassador to NATO said, "We stand by our NATO allies in the face of these airspace violations and will defend every inch of NATO territory." Russia says it did not target Poland.
Last night, before the airspace violation, President Trump was asked when he will talk to Russian President Vladimir Putin next, and he said that that would be either this week or next. The Justice Department filed a federal terror charge against the man accused in a deadly stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee in Charlotte, North Carolina. The horrifying video of that attack is all over social media. That victim, Irina Utsrutska, was 23 years old. She had fled from a bomb shelter during the war in Ukraine to find a new home and a new job in North Carolina. And prosecutors say that on August 22nd, on her way home from work, she was stabbed and killed while sitting on the light rail system in Charlotte. The FBI says the man who murdered her is 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr. Court records show Brown has been arrested 14 times before.
These federal charges will go alongside the murder case in state court, and we hope that they will ensure justice for Erna, for her family, and for the whole Charlotte community.
The federal terror charge raises the possibility of the death penalty. A pastor is accused of defrauding San Francisco churchgoers out of hundreds of thousands of dollars and then using that money to buy a home. The district attorney's office says 56-year-old Kenny Man Wong of Los Angeles served as a visiting pastor at a church on 19th Avenue in the Sunset starting in 2018. And they say he offered legal services and parishioners paid for them, even though he's never been licensed to practice law here in California. They say he cited his faith after churchgoers confronted him about their cash, totaling about $400,000. The suspect faces several charges of grand theft. New indications that the U.S. economy might be slowing down even faster than we thought. Newly revised numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics looked at the 12-month period that ended in March. Data showed more than 900,000 fewer jobs were added than the original estimate. Some of the industries that are most exposed to tariffs have been hit hardest. Data shows that job growth in the manufacturing, construction, and transportation sectors turned negative shortly after President Trump's trade war started in the spring. In wine country, growers and wineries have been facing big economic challenges because of less consumption and oversupply, some even ripping out their vines. Kenny Choi headed to Napa Valley to see how growers are pivoting to survive during this downturn while also looking ahead.
Size is different.
For 3 generations, Tom Gamble's family has been growing wine grapes in Napa.
It's a great harvest year, I think, for reds. We had plenty of rainfall last year, so the grapes are very healthy.
Before they're picked, they're sampled.
They taste kind of yummy, don't they?
They do. They sold this at the grocery store.
Gamble keeps a lighthearted attitude, but experts say the wine industry as a whole continues to face challenges of oversupply and shifts in consumer demand. Gamble says his estate decreased wine production years ago to focus even more on quality rather than quantity.
There is still demand for high-end wine. The biggest hits right now are being felt at the lowest end of the quality and price.
Gamble is contracted to sell all of his grapes, but industry insiders say the gap in supply and demand for lower-end wines like a $10 bottle continues to result in unharvested grapes. Other vineyards are ripping out vines, which ideally reduces supply.
You're seeing literally across California, here, certainly, south of us in the Central Valley, a lot of vineyard acres coming out. That's going to kind of help a reset.
Carissa Cruz is president of Sonoma County Wine Growers.
When you look at a region like Sonoma County or Napa Valley, certainly we're in that premium wine region and those pricing. And so we're not being impacted quite as much, but it was just a slower, I think we were a little more insulated for a little longer than some of the other regions in the state.
Despite that separation, her organization projects that 30% of Sonoma County wine grapes won't be contracted this year. The growers also project what she says is a significant 7% drop in grape prices.
We have wineries in Napa that buy grapes from Sonoma County. About 25% of our grapes go over to Napa wineries every year. And so we can kind of watch that it's happening in both Napa and Sonoma, that there's just grapes that aren't contracted. And again, we're really needing to get the marketplace back in balance.
The ups and downs in a vintner's life are nothing new for Gamble and his family business.
People keep finding their way back to wine. And it does go through cycles, and we're in a challenging one.
But there's no doubt in Gamble's mind who's here to stay.
Cruz says that there's been a shift in wineries offering more walk-in tastings after reservations became the norm during the COVID pandemic. Wineries are also rethinking tasting experiences to appeal to younger audiences with those more casual walk-in options. Love that idea. An Oakland chef rising to the top of the food chain. Food and Wine named Steve Ju one of its best new chefs of 2025. He is the chef and owner of the Korean restaurant Ju Do Bu. It is known for its homemade dubu or tofu. Food and Wine said that before opening this year, Ju spent a year in Korea where he learned traditional techniques. Ju is the first chef in the Bay Area to make Food and Wine's list since 2021, and he is the only chef from California to get the honor this year. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, budget problems forcing California lawmakers to put critical programs on the chopping block. We're going to talk to a Bay Area native who said she wants to be our next governor and put the state back on the path to fiscal sustainability.
It's one of the coolest days this week here in the Bay Area, with our inland spots only warming up into the 70s with cloudy skies, high relative humidity. It almost doesn't feel summer-like, right? Well, that's going to come to an end as we head into this weekend. As high pressure builds its way in, we jump back up into the 80s as early as tomorrow, back into the 90s as early as Monday, and we have sunny skies right around the corner as we slowly creep closer to the triple digits over there. Now, at the same time, we're going to notice that warm up along the bay, just not as much. I mean, low 70s for now, only turn into low 80s by next Tuesday, but we do have sunnier skies around the corner.
All this week, CBS News California Investigates continues to introduce you to the people who want to be our next governor. California correspondent Julie Watts sitting down with the 11 candidates who have officially entered the race so far.
But isn't it interesting that the governor and the legislature found $250 million for a special election, but they couldn't find it for Prop 36?
Well, there's always a way that they can kind of rationalize that cost. And so I would say they probably didn't find it, but they're going to make the expenditure and figure it out at a later time.
Each day, Julie is bringing us one question with one candidate, giving an early insight into who they are and why they want to be our next governor. She is here with former state controller Betty Yee.
Betty Yee is one of the Democrats running to replace California Governor Gavin Newsom when he terms out next year. She lives in Alameda. She's currently a nonprofit board director and was previously California's state controller. She says she's running for governor because, quote, I will bring accountable, fiscally sound leadership to make California add up for working families.
We sat down with each candidate for an in-depth interview covering all of the issues that matter to you. But we began by asking what they think our current governor and legislature did right and what they would have done differently. Here's one question with Betty Yee.
You know, one thing I think Governor Newsom has done very well, and it really began with the pandemic, but just being very present, right? And just being right front and center with Californians about what is affecting our state in a big way. It started with the pandemic, but I think it carried on in terms of what's at stake with our current state of affairs with this Trump administration. Areas that I would say maybe have gotten a backseat is just looking at how we continue to make California accountable. Look, my background's in fiscal and financial management. Every elected official's job is to be really good stewards of the public's dollars, and we've had a lot of money go out to try to meet certain needs, but that accountability about whether those dollars have worked to meet the results, to give us the results that we want, whether homelessness has been reduced, whether people are getting into housing. I mean, those metrics and those performance indicators really haven't been revisited. You know, I think the legislature's been very, very good, and especially more recently, really tapping into the anxiety of Californians. So the affordability struggles that many Californians are facing, whether it be housing, healthcare, electricity, insurance. I think, again, accountability. This has to be a tone set from the top. So they actually pass bills. They should be seeing through the implementation. They should be using the budget process as the oversight process about whether things are working or not. And I don't see that as a matter of discipline that's been with this legislature. It's something that I want to really invite and hope that we can all look at accountability as not who do we throw under the bus, but how can we do better together.
Well, Julie moderated the California Governor's Forum this week, hosted by APAPA and Sacramento State. You can watch that full forum on our website, kpix.com, or on our YouTube channel. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, a Bay Area biotech exec leveraging her career success to open up new lanes for women. How she helped blaze new trails and turn plenty of heads in the process.
For the most part, people, when they look at the car, they're, like, wow, it's a Ferrari. And then they look in the driver's seat and see my little face behind it. And they go into complete shock.
Heading into this afternoon, still cool and cloudy, widespread throughout the Bay. I mean, today, from San Francisco across that beautiful Golden Gate Bridge up into the North Bay, we're really not seeing too much of a temperature change. If anything, by about 3 degrees into Novato, by about 5 degrees the more north you go up into Santa Rosa. Speaking of Santa Rosa and the North Bay, you see a little bit of that green trickled in there up in the North Bay this afternoon? Well, as we advance the clock into the afternoon and evening hours tonight, there's a chance of thunderstorm activity up there, while the rest of us are really just dealing with dry, cool, cloudy conditions. And when we talk about dry conditions, I should also add relative humidity is pretty high. It's been muggy, it's been cool for us, widespread throughout the day, with daytime highs only sitting in the 70s from the East Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. So this is below average for this time of year, yes. And it's not that normal. Also, yes, the reason why we're even seeing this change in the weather pattern has to do with low pressure just to the north of us. What that's doing is it's driving in more moisture as we head into the afternoon hours. I mean, we even notice it in the early morning hours too, but that system starts to exit as we head into our Thursday and Friday forecast. So it's wringing out the last of those showers over the Bay Area as we head into the afternoon hours today, starting to clear up into our Thursday forecast, still with cool, cloudy skies, but then we'll start to see a nice warm up with sunnier conditions heading into this weekend.
A Bay Area woman is making inroads in a male-dominated pastime, and she's doing it in style. Len Ramirez has a look at the leader of an exotic car show who's encouraging women to keep their foot on the gas.
Downtown Carmel by the Sea, and it's women behind the wheel. But this isn't just any exotic car show during Monterey Car Week. It's the Prancing Ponies Women's Car Show, the only one of its kind. And it's fueled by ladies who love fast cars and want to lift up others along the way. Founder Shantaria McGilbraw is the power behind it all. She's not just celebrating cars, she's opening new lanes for women, especially women of color, to succeed.
Well, Prancing Ponies is a state of being, being in the world, giving back, uplifting others, advancing your own life and your own careers for your own families.
She's a first-generation college student.
Her mission brought tears to the eyes of Yasmina Sparza, a hard-working Cal State Monterey Bay student who received the Prancing Ponies' $1,000 scholarship. And soon Shantaria was choking up too.
So I'm just very proud of you, and she's such an incredible person.
Her tears reminded me how important what we do is. It reminded me that our scholarships can change lives. And seeing those tears in her eyes reminded me of that.
Shantaria's own journey started far from the luxury lanes of Carmel. Raised in the East Bay, she graduated from Cal State Hayward and later earned her MBA from the University of Monaco.
After returning home, I became the first employee of a biotech company. And 4 years and 9 months later, we went public. So this is my yay me gift for working so hard with a startup. And who knew this car would literally change my life.
But as a woman and a person of color, her success has come with surprise and skepticism.
For the most part, people, when they look at the car, they're, like, wow, it's a Ferrari. And then they look in the driver's seat and see my little face behind it. And they go into complete shock, I have to admit. I get, oh, that's a nice gift, a lot.
And that's one reason why the Prancing Ponies exists.
The statement is women can do it too.
So this is a 2024 Porsche 911.
Take Megan De Herrera, a retired accountant and AI consultant, showing off her 911 and breaking barriers.
Women love cars as much as men, and we also work on them and enjoy the racing experience.
The Prancing Ponies Car Show is about having fun, but it's about far more than that. It's one way of driving change and lifting up the next generation.
Our mission is creating women leaders one girl at a time, and the way I feel right now after giving her the scholarship is just, my heart is so full, and I want to do it 10,000 more times if I can.
From Ferraris to futures, Shantaria is shifting to a more inclusive road ahead, and the Prancing Ponies are leading the way.
And by the way, Shantaria doesn't just cruise around the Bay Area. She also races her Ferrari, which she named Coco, at rallies across the country and Europe. In addition to all the dogs and cats that are up for adoption right now, and there's a lot, our shelters are overcrowded, there is one baby pig now up for adoption on the peninsula. Yeah, that's Checkers. The 17-pound potbelly pig is available at the Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA's. Cute. The Humane Society says he is going to need a yard to dig and run around in and play in with plenty of shade. He'll also need a shallow, muddy pool. His diet: fresh greens, hay, and commercial pig food. Fruits are okay once in a while as well. But do keep this in mind. Checkers is expected to grow to be more than 100 pounds. More than 100 pounds. If you're interested in adopting him, contact the Peninsula Humane Society. Pigs are incredibly smart and a lot like dogs. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.